Husker Nation, how we doing? The other day, I did a video previewing the 2024 offense, talking about, hey, is it going to be better than it was last year? Is it going to improve at all? And that's posted on the channel. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But today, we're going to talk about the 2024 defense and whether or not whether it can be as good as it was last year. Can it be even better? Or would it take a step back? Okay, so we're going to analyze that today. We're going to talk about it. Before we get any further, please like the video, subscribe below. All right, so last year, as you guys know, the defense was pretty good. Nebraska fielded a top 25 defense in a lot of respects, and they really held their own in the Big Ten. A lot of people had questions about whether or not Tony White's 3-3-5, the style he runs, the 3-3-5 defense would be effective in the Big Ten. Some people were saying, yeah, it would, because look at what TCU did the year before against Michigan. I think it was a playoff game late in the year where TCU was running the 3-3-5, and they were able to stop Michigan's run. And guess what, guys? Yeah, the 3-3-5 did pretty well in the Big Ten last year. So no surprise there, at least to me, I don't think. Tony White quickly became a hot coaching name, and obviously, there were a lot of rumors in the offseason about maybe him leaving, taking another job. Ultimately, he took a pay increase and decided to stay. For how long, we don't know, because if he does a good job again this year, that name's going to keep coming up, and up again. The good news is we'll maybe playing a little bit of 3D chess with this, and when Evan Cooper resigned earlier this month and he hired John Butler, John Butler has been very clear and vocal in the past that he wants to be a defensive coordinator again. Just being a linebacker coach is not good enough for him. And so, actually, that's one of the reasons, or primarily the reason why he left Buffalo, the Bills in the NFL, was because he wanted to be the defensive coordinator and they chose someone over him. Even though his linebacker core put up some great numbers over his tenure. But he wants to be a defensive coordinator. He wants to be in charge of that. So curious that he would then decide to just be a linebacker coach at Nebraska, right? Probably he's positioning himself in, and there may have been discussions, hey, you could position yourself. Tony White leaves this year, next year. It's a matter of when, really, I think, rather than if. And so Butler positions himself in that position to succeed in the future. That would be really good stability and continuity for Nebraska. Now, not to get too sidetracked there, let's talk about how we're going to do this year, okay? So returning a lot of starters on defense, a lot of people that could have declared for the draft or decided to stay, and some very notable names returning, Ty Robinson, Nash Hutmacher, John Bullock, Isaac Gifford, all seniors that are returning this year, Javen Wright, all seniors that are returning this year and projected to be starters on this defense. So, obviously, let's start with Ty Robinson at defensive end. Getting to the quarterback last year, making some big plays, and another year in that Tony White defense, I expect them to take a step up. That D-line, let's just talk about it as a whole. Ty Robinson, Nash Hutmacher, the polar bear there in the nose tackle position. Jamari Butler at the other end. Also Cam Lenhart, right? He's a younger guy. He's going to be a sophomore this year. But you also have younger guys like Van Poppel, Elijah Judy, A.J. Rollins. The depth on that D-line, guys, what I'm getting at, they're bringing back experience. They're bringing back known talent. They're also bringing back a lot of youth. Some guys we got to see play a little bit last year as well that mixed in and were very good when they did come in and rotated through, because Tony White likes to rotate often on that line. Those guys are all coming back, right? Those guys are coming back. So good news on the D-line. I think the D-line stays intact. The D-line's going to continue to do good. Now, that secondary, not the secondary, but those linebackers, the middle linebackers, the outside linebackers, that jack position, because we're talking about the 3-3-5. We're returning Javen Wright. He's a senior at the middle linebacker position. Bullock at the linebacker position. Also a senior, John Bullock. And then, at that jack position, MJ Sherman's coming back. We also have younger guys like Princewell Unamalayan. Probably said that wrong. I apologize. I try my best. So Princewell's coming back. Stephon Thompson, Maverick Noonan, just a lot of young guys with a lot of talent coming back. Names you'll recognize from last year, which is good, right? Because last year's defense was good. Then we're getting to the secondary. Obviously, Tommy Hill expected to be the best corner, maybe one of the best players on that defensive side of the ball. And then, obviously, Bly Hill, many expected him maybe to take that spot opposite Tommy Hill. His injury, according to Roll, is going to bleed into the season. We don't know for how long. We don't know by how much. But we know it's going to bleed into it a little bit. So, in comes transfer cornerback Sierra Wright, coming from USC. Started 11 games for him last year, so he's got the experience. Yes, there's question marks on USC's defense last year, but I don't think you can attribute that to him specifically. So a great addition. Many expect him to start, including me probably. I expect him to start opposite Tommy Hill, that other corner spot. Of course, we're just going into the fall camp, guys. Anything can happen. How quick can he get up to speed? To some of the younger guys, show them out, right? I mean, you got Mario Buford in there, Dwight Boodle, right? Do they show him out? Do they take that spot instead? I don't know. I think he's a strong front runner because of the experience, but don't count out Buford. Don't count out Boodle, okay? Then at the then you also have, like Malcolm Hartzog, right? He's coming to his own. It's taken him a while. For a while, they've, floated. I think Mickey Joseph floated trying to convert him to a receiver, but he really played well last year. But I think they like him more in like a safety position, so he'll probably be there. But he could start at that corner position as well, right? And then, but obviously, for the strong safety position, we got Isaac Gifford, right? You got Deshaun Singleton, who was a game wrecker at times last year before he got injured, taking him out the rest of the year. He comes back. How strong does he come back after the injury? I don't know. I'm excited to find out, right? And then the free safety position, you have Buford Jr. and Barnes, right? Hartzog probably get a mix in there as well. That's just my initial thoughts. So overall, that's what we're looking at depth chart-wise. That's what we're looking at returning player-wise. That's what we're looking at young player-wise on this defense. So is it going to be good, right? That's what you guys are looking to find out. In my opinion, I think it's going to at least be as good as it was last year. It may take a step forward, but the only thing that causes me concern, guys, if you go back and you look, or if you remember to when you watched the spring game, I think it was April earlier this year, how many times did that defense get taken out over the top? It was multiple times. It was a lot. Now, I don't know, and no one knows outside of probably the coaching staff, was that because they were, number one, taking it easy on the offense to showcase a little bit of the speed on the receiver's end and the quarterback? Was it because they were playing, just some basic defense? More likely, I think they're playing some basic defense to just because it's the spring game. But then again, you have to ask, well, a more basic scheme, what's the point, right? I mean, all the teams have tape on them from last year, right? All the teams can go back and watch. I mean, they're not expected to change schemes, so it's still going to be the 3-3-5. So why in the spring game would you not just showcase the whole playbook? Why would you limit your play and keep it vanilla, so to speak? Because everyone's got tape on you. So I don't know. That concerns me, guys. I'll be honest with you. What I saw in the spring game looked like a defense that didn't look like the defense from last year. Now, it's the spring game. Take it with a grain of salt. But you have to ask yourself, why were they being taken off over the top so much? So much. And I don't know, right? So we got to hope that that's an anomaly, that was, there are no worries going on behind the scenes. There shouldn't, right? At the end of the day, when you look at the depth chart, go over everything we just talked about, they're returning so many of the same players that it shouldn't be a step back, right? It shouldn't be. If anything, it should be a step forward. And if it's a step forward on that defense, guys, even a little bit of a step up from where they were last year, with even a moderate increase in offensive production, we're going to win a lot of games. A lot of ifs. Fall camp's coming right around the corner. The season starts right around the corner, and then we're going to get these questions answered. But for the sake of speculation, yes, I think the defense will be just as good, if not better, than it was last year. And, again, the offense takes that step forward like we predicted in the other video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. We're going to win a lot of games this year, guys, especially that front stretch of the schedule. Very favorable. Should win plenty of those. Again, if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, visit me at my website, link in the description, guys, WedRightCornSports.com. And again, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for the support.